Chapter 81. Spirit Snake Sword. Martial arts will continue. Nye Tien carefully observed every match that followed, but there was no one worthy of his attention. The preliminaries, the 16th round of a group, the 17th, and the duel on the 30th. On the competition stage, the gray-robed warrior announced, "Number 30, it's me." Xiu Ling came to her senses with an excited expression on her face, not a little nervous, but a little excited. On the contrary, Qiu Shan was very nervous and said, "Miss Linger, don't be brave, fight if you can, and admit defeat if you can't." "Uncle Qiu Shan, I understand." Xiu Linger nodded. "I believe Sister Linger will win." Nye Yuro hugged Xiaobai, looked up at Xiu Linger, and said seriously, "In." Xiu Ling's nodded heavily and then walked out. Miss Linger is very strong. As long as she doesn't meet a warrior of the 9th level of Yuanling, she will be able to fight. Nye Tien looked at Xiu Linger's back and said lightly. Nye Tien had already sensed before that Xiu Linger had the triple strength of Yuanling, but her Yuanling was a sword spirit, and it was a very powerful sword spirit. Nye Tien estimated that Xiu Linger's primordial aptitude was around the 5th level. The sword spirit is not a power-type Yuanling. Xiu Ling can pass the strength test with the strength of the Yuanling triple, which shows that her sword spirit is not bad. Qiu Shan nodded slightly. With Nye Tien's words, he felt relieved. However, when Qiu Shan saw Xiu Linger's opponent in the martial arts arena, his face froze. "Qin Feng?" Qiu Shan stared around his eyes and couldn't help losing his voice. He did not expect that Xiu Linger was so unlucky that the first opponent she met was Qin Feng. Qin Feng is the 9th level of Yuanling strength, the siege student of the Rookie King. Xiu Ling couldn't possibly be his opponent. "Miss Linger, come down quickly, don't fight, just admit defeat." Qiu Shan stepped forward and shouted to Xiu Linger. Xiu Ling turned her head back for a moment, then said with a smile, "Uncle Qiu Shan, it's fine, trust me." Xiu Ling is very confident in herself and doesn't seem to be afraid of Qin Feng. Qin Feng had seen Xiu Linger and Nye Tien, Jean DeBao, and others together a long time ago, and he had already made up his mind, and said with a sneer, "Uncle, she is the one who wants to compete, not you. Can you control so much? I can do whatever I want, and I have nothing to do with you." Seeing Qin Feng's sinister look, Qiu Shan panicked, and suddenly jumped into the martial arts arena, grabbing Xiu Linger. "Linger, listen to me, we admit defeat." "Uncle Qiu Shan, I don't admit defeat." Xiu Ling insisted rather stubbornly. "Do you want to admit defeat?" At this moment, the gray-robed warrior from Bayun Academy spoke. He suddenly took a step forward, with his body turned slightly to one side, and a powerful force swung towards him, knocking Qiu Shan directly off the competition stage. Qiu Shan fell from the martial arts stage and almost fell, but luckily Nye Tien held him up. The gray-robed warrior stared at Qiu Shan coldly and reprimanded, "You are not a contestant, and you are not qualified to step on the martial arts arena. I think you are a first-time offender, so I forgive you. If you dare to step on the martial arts arena next time, don't blame my subordinates for being ruthless." "My little brother, thank you for your mercy." Qiu Shan was not injured, and the black-robed warrior was indeed not ruthless. The gray-robed warrior said coldly, "Admitting defeat must be under the martial arts arena. She has already stepped into the martial arts arena. She wants to admit defeat, but it is too late." Ah! Akiyama knew that the matter was irreversible, and couldn't help sighing. Xiu Ling knew that Qiu Shan was worried about herself, but she was not nervous and said very confidently, "Uncle Qiu Shan, don't worry. I'm fine." Jean DeBao saw that Qin Feng's eyes were not friendly, and said, "Qin Feng, you'd better not hurt Linger, otherwise I will not let you go." "Really?" Qin Feng sneered, with a look of disdain, and he said provocatively, "I would like to know why young Master Jean won't let me go." "Fatty, shut up. Miss Ben hasn't lost yet." Xiu Ling rolled her eyes at Jean DeBao, showing disbelief. Jean DeBao wanted to say something but was stopped by Nye Tien. Nye Tien said, don't affect her mentality. She has confidence and must rely on her. We just need to trust her. In addition to strength, mentality is also very important in martial arts battles. If you are timid before fighting, even if your strength is higher than that of your opponent, you will lose. Nie Tian saw that Chiu Linger was a girl full of spirituality. Although she was a bit stubborn, she was not the kind of ignorant and nonsense person. Since she dared to climb onto the martial arts stage, she must have something to rely on. Is your nonsense over? I'm going to do it. Qin Feng smiled coldly, ready to make a move. Although Jean DeBeo and Qiu Shan were worried, they had no choice but to take a step back and look nervously at the martial arts stage. Because of Qin Feng's appearance, many people watched the match. Xiu Lings looked at Qin Feng, her pretty face slowly turning cold, gradually revealing a terrifying calmness. Qin Feng smiled disdainfully and said, "Little sister, don't worry. I am a person who cherishes beauty and love, and I will not kill you. I will only abolish your Yuan Mai." Humph. Xiu Lings raised her snow-white chin, revealing stubbornness. "Do you have that ability?" Zhang. She raised her arm, and a slender sword appeared behind her, sharp and flexible, like a small snake, extremely flexible. Spirit Snake Fantasy Sword, this is Qiu Linger's, Yuan Ling. The spirit snake came out of its hole. Qiu Ling knew that Qin Feng was very powerful, so the first move was not a strong attack, but a test move. The spirit snake illusory sword pulled out a sword flower in the air, the sword turned a few times, and a phantom spewed out. Qin Feng stood firmly on the spot without moving a muscle, his eyes fixed on the spirit snake and sword Yuan Ling behind Qiu Linger. Just when the phantom sword phantom was about to attack Qin Feng, a powerful force suddenly spewed out from behind him, and with just a slight movement, the phantom sword phantom immediately shattered. Spirit Snake Fantasy Sword retreated suddenly as if suddenly stimulated. Qin Feng has the strength of the 9th level of Yuan Ling, but Qiu Linger is only at the 4th level of Yuan Ling. The difference in strength between the two is too large, and Qin Feng's Overlord Hammer Yuan Ling is not weaker than Yuan Ling of the Spirit Snake and Illusory Sword. Linger was no match at all. Nie Tian nodded slightly under the stage, thinking to himself, the advantage of the Spirit Snake and Magic Sword Yuan Ling lies in its agility. If Qiu Linger can reveal this spirituality, there may be surprises. Of course, Nie Tian knew that no matter how agile Qiu Linger was, she couldn't be Qin Feng's opponent, but if she could use her agility perfectly, she would at least have the power to protect herself. Qin Feng repelled Qiu Linger with one move, and jokingly said, "Little sister, is this all your strength? Then I will make a move. Is it your turn to take the shot?" Xiu Ling shouted coquettishly, clasped her hands together, and charged forward. The spirit snake illusionary sword swirled in the air, and the edge of the sword gushed out energy, attacking Qin Feng. Snake dancing with blue waves. Xiu Ling's made another move, and Qiu Linger no longer held back, and the spirit snake and a magic sword pierced through the air with swiftness and sharpness. As soon as the sword move was made, 7 sword shadows immediately transformed into 7 sword shadows, all of which attacked Qin Feng. Is it just like that? Qin Feng smiled coldly, and the Badian Hammer Yuan Ling blasted out. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. The 7 sword shadows suddenly turned around in the air and turned into 49 phantoms. The phantoms are connected layer by layer, and they are intertwined with each other, forming a blue water curtain, like a waterfall, pressing towards Qin Feng.